Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Yes, it's the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode number 905 for the 8th of February, 2026. Richard Saunders coming to you from Sydney, Australia, where we are recovering from another hot day yesterday. Very hot, very muggy. And this was the day, yesterday, Lara Benham, the Secretary of Australian Skeptics, and I decided to go to Parramatta in the western part of Sydney for the Oz Para Expo, the psychic and new age and all sorts of things expo at Old Government House in Parramatta. Little did we know that it was held outside under marquees and tents, sort of scattered around the grounds. Now it was toasty and muggy, which can happen at this time of year in Sydney. It can get outrageously hot. So I question the wisdom of holding events like this in the western part of Sydney in the middle of summer. However, there we were, and coming up very soon, before we get stuck into the main part of the show, a brief report about that. But also on today's show, I visited Tim Mendham for the Book of Tim, and this is all about the impending visit to Australia by Allison Dubois. Now, you may remember the name. She was popular about 20 years ago at the TV show Medium, loosely, very loosely, based on her claims, but of course it was just a TV drama fiction show. Now, all this was a long time ago. Nevertheless, Allison Dubois, mainly because of that TV show, continues to enjoy some sort of notoriety or stardom, I think mainly due to nostalgia. Tim Mendham and I talk about her and look at some famous cases in Australian history where psychics, clairvoyants and tarot card readers and seers and mediums have been no help whatsoever, because Allison Dubois says she'll be working on some cold cases when she comes to Australia. Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. More about that coming up at the top of the show. And for those people watching this or listening to this at the moment on YouTube, we videoed the whole event. So you'll be able to see Tim and I, and you'll be able to see the clips and the newspaper clippings that we refer to. And for those of you just listening to this episode, if you want to see the segment with Tim and I at the former Skeptics Mansions, then just tap the YouTube link at skepticzone.tv, and you'll be able to see the newspaper clips and the stories and the bits and pieces that I play during the episode. Then to round off the show, we look at the claims of scalar energy and scalar healing. Scalar is a real term used in science and mathematics and physics. I think we're going to be looking more closely at the term itself next week, but for this week we're going to be looking at how it's been abused by the New Age. Who would have thunk it? Now, the Oz Para Expo, which was on the 7th of February from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the grounds, and indeed in the Old Government House, where the ghost hunting or the ghost tour part was, I should say. Lara Benham and I turned up, and even the 15-minute walk from the train station to the expo itself had us exhausted with the heat. It was quite something. Anyway, we turn up at the gates. Free entry, said the sign. Psychic Saturday, come on in. Market stalls, psychics, talks and more. And for those of you watching on YouTube at the moment, there are a few photographs coming up looking at the day, but it was a little bit difficult wandering around simply because everybody had seemed to have given up somewhat on the idea of the paranormal and were more interested in parasols or anything to beat the heat. I took the opportunity to have a quick chat with Lara.
Well, don't let anybody say that skeptics don't go out there and investigate and get off the couch. We're not armchair skeptics. We're at Parramatta. I'm with Lara Benham. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. We are melting, and it must be
A bajillion degrees.
a bajillion degrees. That's a very scientific term for high 90s, 100, or in Celsius about 35, 36, something like that out here.
No, I think it's only. I think it's only. Hang on, I'll have a look. But I'm pretty sure it's not actually that hot. It's the
humidity.
It's the humidity.
Yeah.
The humanity is
The humanity.
causing problems. 29 degrees C.
What? That can't be right.
32.
32.
It says 32.
All right. Seems hotter.
But the humidity is approximately 4,000%.
Yes. So we're at the spiritual fair here at Old Government House at Parramatta.
It's actually marketed as a psychic fair.
A psychic. There's a tent of psychics over there. And the point is, it's all outside. And all the exhibitors here are huddled under tents roasting.
It's my bad entirely. I did not realise it was outside.
But we're here, nevertheless. I bought a little pendulum and a little, bits of fun things. One person recognised me, so there you go.
As a skeptic?
Well, she said, I know you. And I said, well, I don't know. You've been on the ghost tours. And I think, have I been on that ghost tour? And we finally figured out she remembered me from TV many years ago. So there you go. There you go. But there's a moderate turnout because it's simply so hot. But there's people selling interesting clothing and tarot cards and sculptures and crystals and things like that. And a bit later on, we're going on a ghosty tour.
We are, which is inside, and I'm really hoping there's aircon in there.
For the benefit of the ghosts and us, I hope it's air.
Hang on a minute. Don't they say that when a ghost is near, the temperature drops?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really hoping for a bit of that.
Let's have a lot of ghosts.
I've never been so keen to have a ghost present.
No, I do. I really pity the exhibitors here, all the crystal peddlers and the psychics and everyone, because they're all just roasting. People are running around with fans trying to keep cool.
I'm not pitying them too hard because most of them are psychic of some flavour, and so they knew that this was the situation.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And
I am not psychic. I did not know.
We did not know, and they've probably all manifested this.
Have they?
Probably.
Bastards.
That's their fault. But it's fun to come out here. I just wish it wasn't so hot. Maybe the Parramatta Council can reconsider having outside events in February, I think.
Yeah. God, Richard, my brain has stopped.
I'm fried.
How are you not finding that cooler? It's a tree.
It's a few hours later. We've had a nice lunch in an air-conditioned restaurant. Well, it was a club, services club, and a nice beverage. And we're walking back to the Old Government House here in Parramatta for a ghosty tour. And you can hear the cicadas in the background. They always do that, but particularly on a hot day, which it is at the moment.
The ghost tour was interesting. There was a party of about 12 or 13 or 14 maybe, wandering around Old Government House in Parramatta. It was, again, very warm. So we had various fans and things to try and keep us cool. And typical of those sort of ghost tours, it really just revolved around going into a room, hearing a story about what happened there to somebody once, or somebody reported that, or people said they saw something in the corner, that sort of thing, which got a little bit tiresome after a while. But nevertheless, it was interesting to hear about the history of that part of Australia. The rest of the fair was your typical New Age, spiritual, ghosty, psychic sort of fair. I've picked up a few flyers. There were nice things on sale, interesting things on sale. I bought a pendulum and a little mat that you hold the pendulum over, and when you swing it about, it says yes, no, or maybe, or go away, or something like that. There we go. We've got one flyer here. Medium Luda, Luda. Guidance, clarity, connection. And there's a picture of Luda, presumably, beaming away. And we have here services offered. Private readings, in-person, phone, or online. Audience platform readings, live group events, connecting with spirit. This spirit has a lot to answer for, you know. They always talk to spirit, not the spirit, but spirit, or a spirit, but it's just spirit. Hello, spirit, are you there? Well, spirit is telling me. What else does she do? Psychic and mediumship development, spiritual art classes, circles and workshops, mystic practices and intuitive growth. Unlock and develop your spiritual gifts. Want to book a reading? Gain clarity on love, relationships, career, and life's big decisions. Receive messages from loved ones in spirit and find healing. Talking to the dead, eh? Tap into your own intuitive abilities and personal power. But this is absolutely typical, run-of-the-mill, every day for thousands of people claiming psychic powers around the world. Down the bottom, book now, your journey begins today, with various contact details. And it goes on and on and on. Well, I'm surprised she hasn't won the Nobel Prize yet in something, if she can do all that in reality. I'm just surprised. And one more quick one here. By the Moonlight Tarot. And we have a picture here on the flyer. Looks AI generated, with a middle-aged woman with long flowing grey hair poring over the tarot cards with a full moon in the background and a cat sitting on the table. I like the cat. What tarot can do for you, it says. Provide clarity and insights, helps you understand your current situation and subconscious thoughts, offering a roadmap for decisions, and so on. And incidentally, coming up in the next segment with Tim Mendham, we do a quick tarot reading ourselves. Oh, and finally, I've got a card here from APPI, Ghost Hunts and Tours. Join us for a ghost hunt or a ghost tour at one of our historic locations in New South Wales. I think they were the people who were running the ghost tour we went on in Old Government House. Ghost tours and paranormal investigations at some of New South Wales' most haunted locations. Most haunted, established 2011. Well, I dare say that every location in New South Wales is just as haunted as every other. Well, that's enough from me at the moment. I'm going to run downstairs because the day has got cooler. It's looking out the Skeptic Zone window. It's grey and cloudy and a bit of rain. I'm going to have a nice hot cup of coffee and a buttery bagel. While I do that, I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. And now, a reading from the Book of Tim with Tim Mendham. Yes. Tim Mendham.
Oh, that's me. That's right.
Do
Yes,
you remember who you are?
vaguely, yeah. Getting a bit old.
We're here in what used to be Skeptic Towers.
Yeah, but we've lowered it.
You've
down
lowered it. It's
down to
almost-
ground level. Yeah, we aren't allowed in the top floor anymore. Okay. That's now a penthouse apartment, yes.
It's like, you remember Are You Being Served whenever Rumbold would mention the board? He's up to the board. We're here to talk about, not about the board or Skeptic Towers, we're here to talk about psychic detectives.
That's right, we are.
What have you done, dealt with, written about, investigated over the last 40, 60, 80 years?
Yeah. Well, they're not a very rare animal, unfortunately. No. They're all over the place. They do have sharp teeth and wings, as the description of them is grief vampires.
Yes. Well, that's a subset of grief vampires, the psychic detectives.
Psychic detectives are supposedly there to help police solve unsolved crimes, fate murders, that sort of thing, find the body, missing people, all sorts of things like that. Their success rate is actually, in round figures, zero. But I mean, and yet they keep claiming that they're helping police. And that's always the mantra that they've used. I've helped police. That's part of their CV, if you like, their credentials, that they say they've helped out. What it actually turns out to be is that they've sent police their suggestions, and the police sort of waste no time in putting them in the round filing cabinet.
Round filing cabinet on the floor.
Which they've often said, as I know that perhaps you're going to talk about it, I think you are, about the police reaction to these things over the years, and a long term over the years actually, that police do not like them. Perhaps they're polite. I mean, I'm sure there are some individual policemen, as there are in every sort of area, who might be interested in what a psychic says and follows it up, but that is often unofficial.
And there are some who actually think they're legit. Because when you think about it, of the thousands upon thousands of police officers operating around the world, you're going to get some who probably think there's something in them.
I think the police or
the police.
Oh, the police, yes. Yeah. There are a few there.
Because it's a range of society, right? Yeah.
And we have examples of that. Sort of, I think the one who was working with Debbie Malone was actually a policeman who was actually taking her around to the families of the victims and this sort of stuff. It was pretty dodgy, I think, activities.
Yeah, but all it takes is one, and the ABC made a little documentary about it called The Psychic and the Cop or something like that, and that seals them, you know? Because anyway, what we're here to talk about today, this is a story which should, by the time this episode goes out, should be on the Skeptics, the Australian Skeptics website, which I've written about Allison Dubois.
Allison Dubois.
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 No, Dubois.
Yes. Allison Dubois.
There's a book in there.
Allison Dubois.
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 Yes, it's sort of New Orleans-y French, that sort of thing.
Right. Now, she, if you remember, listeners and viewers, she was the psychic wonder kid over 20 years ago.
Yes.
She was the next big thing. And she was the inspiration for the television show Medium.
Right.
Right. So let me read the piece I've written.
Should add, it's a fictional TV show. It's not a documentary TV show.
Really?
Yeah, that's right. It's funny that, I think it's supposed to be inspired by some of her cases, but it's actually in the same way as the Conjuring films. They're actually fictional versions of real life.
Well, Lord of the Rings is a fictional. Anyway, I've called this, I don't know if this will be the title once it goes on the website. Anyway, it's called Allison Dubois, Paranormal Wild Goose Chase.
Absolutely.
Richard Saunders, it's me, yes. Richard Saunders repeats. I'll repeat that. Richard Saunders reports on how mediums turn tragedy into bad taste entertainment. Here we go. In June 2026, this year, American Allison Dubois is once again visiting Australia, this time with her Cold Case tour. 20 years ago, she was the latest psychic wonder kid on the block with an unearned reputation for solving crimes for police. The premise of using mediums or psychics in this way led to the production of the fictional television program Medium, and that ran from 2005 to 2011.
That long?
Yeah. Okay. And I was just listening to the Skeptic Zone today. How about that?
Really?
Episode 8.
8. What's the latest number that we in the 900s?
This will be 905.
Yes, yeah, it's a while ago.
So I was talking to Melbourne magician Mark Mayer, and he did a lot of research about Allison Dubois. And he said the first 2 episodes of Medium were loosely based on what she claimed happened, and the rest were just writers and fictional stories. However, writing in the Skeptical Inquirer magazine in 2011, Ryan Schaefer points out that, quote, in 2010, Dubois was asked by KPHO TV, the Phoenix, Arizona CBS affiliate, about a missing boy. The case marks the first publicly recorded event which Dubois has been specific in her predictions and offered a timeline for a criminal case. As it turns out, Dubois' predictions not only failed to solve the crime, but were completely wrong.
Surprising.
Well, yes. CBS cancelled Medium, but there is little doubt that the real-life Allison Dubois will continue to claim that she helps law enforcement even if she can't supply evidence for her claims, which is true. It's a shtick.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This whole thing. Speaking on ABC Radio, the Spirit of Things. Do you remember that program?
I don't.
You don't?
Sorry.
This was a sort of a new agey, touchy-feely spiritual show. So in 2005, she said the following, and what I'll do is if we listen now, we can hear the actual clip from the program.
Well, you've been unusually successful in the medium business, but it's not easy, is it? I mean, there are people who are skeptics and can be pretty hostile.
They can be pretty hostile. I think that speaks volumes, their level of hostility. And they need to get their blood pressure checked. But yes, we do deal with that. But with anything in life, you're going to have some angry people that focus their energies in the wrong place, that have a chip on their shoulders. So I kind of call it like I see it with them, and they make no difference in who I am. I mean, I will be a medium when they are gone, and when I am gone, I will still have done what I do. And skeptics that do it professionally help nobody in their lifetime, and I look at it that way. How many people have they really helped to have a better life or to feel better? And I think not many, if any at all. And I have thousands, and I know many other mediums that do as well. And we've made a difference in people's lives that skeptics can't take away. And they can try and dismiss it, but we'll still exist because I believe it's genetic, and a medium's probably born every day. So kind of a futile fight.
Hang on, I'm just getting the chip off my shoulder.
Well, there you go. I mean, that sums it up. That's and as I say in my article here, it can be all too easy for mediums to use a straw man argument like that to paint all people with genuine inquiries and reasonable doubt as naysaying, closed-minded, hostile curmudgeons.
I think that the issue with that recording actually is the intro from the interviewer who's saying that you've had a lot of experience as a psychic. There's no question that you claim to be a psychic and anything like that. And I don't know who that interviewer is. It's,
well, the show was called The Spirit of Things.
It sounds American. It's unusual. It's an American accent. And,
it was a long-running show here on ABC Radio. That reporter, by the way, who did that or does that is Rachel Cohn, C-O-H-N. And you're right, completely credulous. Just, you're a psychic detective and you help the police. Yeah. Well, please tell us all about it and how bad the skeptics are.
It's a leading question. You know, and it's, as far as a news program, that's entertainment, not news.
Yeah, that is. Anyway, I'll read on. Dubois, how was that? Dubois, I'll never say it, is just one of a very long list of international mediums, in air quotes, those who claim to talk or at least get messages from the dead, who toured or are touring Australia. These include such names as Doris Stokes, John Edward, Sally Morgan, Tony Stockwell, David Thompson, Doris Collins, James Van Praagh, Lisa Williams, Nikki Kitt, and Margaret Birkin. And there are many more, of course. They pack theatres and are all but guaranteed uncritical free publicity via morning TV programs, newspapers, and radio.
Absolutely true. No, absolutely true. Yeah, it's very sad to see it, actually. But then, perhaps it's not surprising because they moved from that interview of a psychic onto a promotion of some new gadget that's going to cure your bad breath or something. You know?
And in my files, I've got the time 20 years ago where Allison Dubois was came on board as one of the regulars for New Idea Women's Magazine.
All right.
Of course she did. Of course she did. She's young. So she's touring in Australia this year with her Cold Case Tour. Apart from the standard stage show of the genre, is there someone in this section of the audience who can relate to a mother figure? On the other side, had chest pains, could have had an E in her name. You know, that sort of game. Dubois, in one of her promotional videos, says, and I'm going to play this now, here we go. I'll just call that up. Here we go. This is what she says.
Hi, I'm Allison Dubois. I'm very excited to announce my Cold Case Tour. I'm coming to Australia May and June of 2026. I'm going to be working some cold cases that are close to your hearts, as well as doing live readings for all of you involving relationships and career, but also bringing through the dead, the people that you miss the most. We're going to spend many afternoons bringing them through and delivering messages for you. So tickets are going to go up this week. I'm very excited. Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, Adelaide. We're working on Perth, trying to secure an event as a replacement for Newcastle. Unfortunately, they were unable to accommodate us, but we're very excited to come to Australia in 2026. So come out and see me.
Australia.
There you go. So she's doing quite a big tour.
Yeah, she is actually. It doesn't do Tasmania, but no one ever does.
Well, it's largely because of nostalgia. But, a lot of people still remember her. So as I said, she's coming to Australia, and the cases, she didn't mention them there, but she does later in another social posting. The cases she says she will, quote, I'm going to be working some cold cases that are close to your hearts, right? Yeah. That's what she said. These cases, the cases she has chosen are the Beaumont children, William Tyrrell, or Tyrrell, I'm not sure, but Tyrrell, and a case called Margaret and Sienna Tapp, which I was unfamiliar with.
I'm unfamiliar with that one too, actually. The other two are celebrated. And
Sienna.
You go onto a Wikipedia thing and say, sort of missing cases in Australia, and you'll come up with those two, perhaps the third one as well.
That's S-E-A-N-A. That's pronounced...
S-E-A-N-A?
S-E-A-N-A.
Shauna. Something like
Shauna?
That. Could be.
So for apologies to anyone connected to that case if I'm not pronouncing that name correctly.
Anyway.
It's not Dubois. So let's look at the Beaumont children. In January, just gone, marked 60 years. 60 years, the anniversary of the disappearance of the Beaumont children from an Adelaide beach. One of the reasons this case became so famous was the involvement of the so-called psychic detective Gerard Cossette, who flew out from the Netherlands in late 1966 to use his claimed powers to locate the children. Ultimately, this was a fiasco that not only served to give false hope, but wasted police time and resources. A full report can be read in the pages of the Skeptic magazine, and that's on the screen now. That's the report from
Written
there.
by your good self?
Written by me, yes. And it's also, I did a Skeptoid podcast all about that case, which is roughly mirroring a lot of what I said in the report for the Skeptic magazine.
It was quite a famous case because, the mid-60s, and with 3 children, all at least 10, one of them, I think, 2 girls and a boy, very young, went onto the beach, and as people did in those days, the parents weren't around, the kids just sunning themselves on the beach or whatever, and they suddenly disappeared. Yeah. Taken away, obviously. Must have been horrifying.
Horrifying.
For the parents.
Yeah.
Especially never having found them, despite the efforts.
Despite the efforts. And indeed, I mean, there are many psychics over the years, including in 1990, a psychic named June Cox was interviewed by police after she claimed her powers led her to the burial place of 5 missing Adelaide children, including the 3 Beaumonts. She was even allowed to visit a site being searched by police at the time, the Myponga Reservoir, south of Adelaide. Again, this came to nothing. And let's have a look at a brief clip of that fruitless search.
The Police Underwater Recovery Squad will soon investigate a clairvoyant's predictions of where the missing Beaumont children are hidden at the Myponga Reservoir. The clairvoyant, June Cox, is now advising the Major Crime Squad and today told police they're looking in the wrong area.
Early morning and the controversial search for the missing Beaumont children resumes. The divers were quickly set up and in the water. Their progress continually monitored from above.
Yeah, Roger JT will tighten up the distance line once you've removed it off the bolt.
While the divers were busy, a clairvoyant who's been following the case for years was making her own observations. The Major Crime Squad has now allowed June Cox into the search area.
That they have actually now said, OK, come down here, wander around, and when you feel certain, then approach us again.
And that's exactly what June did. With the help of compass readings she claims came to her during spiritual contact with the Beaumont children, she's been able to pinpoint where they are. The spot where June Cox believes the bodies are hidden is on a bank close by the reservoir wall. Police divers plan to search that area, but not until later in the week. The underwater recovery squad's been restricted by more than 1 metre of silt at the base of the reservoir wall. Even lying on top of the silt with their arms extended downwards, divers say they have no chance of touching the bottom. The search continues tomorrow. Peter Caldecott, 7 Nightly News.
So that was a waste of police time again. Now this it gets stranger. Okay. Dolly Adamson of the Kyneton Paranormal podcast in April 2025 claimed to have contacted the ghosts of the Beaumont children using a radio known as a spirit box, which we've covered on the Skeptic Zone before. She says the ghosts gave them information which she passed on to the police that could solve the case. This is yet another false trail.
That was April last year.
Yeah.
So it's been heading up for a year ago.
So let's grit your teeth and I will play a little bit of that.
To the bungalow where I've run over to my gorgeous girl, woken her up, chucked her on the headphones and said, "You gotta listen." And I called in the Beaumonts and I asked them to have a chat to Asher. I'm going to play you some of it, not all of it. I'll have to edit out a little bit that I've given to the police, but I just want you to get a sense of exactly what was happening. It's not pretty, I've got to say. It is not pretty. And what they say happened to them is quite awful. Going?
He took us.
Who took you? Who took you? Was he a white man?
Yeah, we were just walking.
They were, in 1966. Weren't you? In January. Father's name was Jim? Is that right?
In Australia. Correct.
Your father's name was Jim?
Correct.
Is there any message?
Beach.
At the beach, yep. This is amazing. This is
incredible.
This is incredible. This is a really historical case. And
Cannibal.
He was a cannibal. Did he have a name so we can tell police? The cannibal?
Did the police?
So we can tell the police? Do the police know?
He got to Sydney.
The cannibal got to Sydney?
Killed us.
Where were you buried? They never found their bodies. Where were you buried? By the beach? Or were you taken to Sydney?
Chopped us. Cannibal.
Well, it's about as much of that as I can take, I'm afraid.
That's pretty horrible.
That's pretty. Now, but I know your answer. You think these people sincerely believe they're getting messages from dead?
I think some do.
Yeah.
I think some are crooks. Sorry.
It's hard to know which is which sometimes, but I've certainly met enough people who sincerely believe in anything.
I mean, yes, but they. I don't know if you could say that they tend not to be high profile. The people who really believe, perhaps they don't have as good patter as others. I mean, I would suggest someone like Doris Stokes didn't believe.
No,
I think she was a con. I think she knew it, and she told so many lies about her income.
Well, she was exposed a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are others. I'm not going to mention anyone living because you're going to get
that's right.
when there's some legal issues. But I would suggest there'd be a fair percentage. There.
So that was the Beaumont children. So she says she's going to work that cold case. Right. There's been more police time and effort from psychics to genuine investigations over a 60-year span, so we're not expecting much.
It'd be interesting to compare what Dubois says to that last clip, the video clip, because, I mean, if Dubois doesn't say they were taken to Sydney and eaten by a cannibal, right, then
I shouldn't laugh.
Obviously the conflict of the spirit world.
That's right.
And I'd be surprised if she does say that.
I'd be staggered.
Dubois says that they were taken. I mean, the most of the impressions, especially by Quasay back at the time, was that they were buried underground and covered over with concrete in some sort of building site.
That's right.
Nothing about cannibals or anything like that. I mean, that's sensational.
That's just
in quotes
bizarre. Well, the next case she says she's going to work on is William Tyrrell, who went missing in 2014. So quite a while ago now. He's only a 3-year-old boy. And among those claiming mystical insights are Australia's celebrity psychic Lizzie Rose, Australia's psychic detective Debbie Malone, psychic medium Karen of the High Priestess Studio via a spirit box.
Yeah.
You want to hear some of that?
Okay, why not?
This is High Priestess Radio or Spirit Box. Here we go.
William Tyrrell, please. Okay, now there's a spirit that's mimicking. Can I speak to William Tyrrell, please? Murdered him. Who took you, William? Dad. Okay. Who hurt you, William? Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it?
Now, for those of you listening and not watching this on YouTube, there's a woman hunched over a spirit box radio. This is a radio which doesn't lock on to a frequency. and they get random transmissions on the AM band, and they'll pick up half fragments of bits of words, and the rest is audio pareidolia.
Do they scan automatically, or do you have to turn a dial like the other days?
I don't have one. I think you just hit go, and it goes. It just looks through the frequencies,
and it doesn't stop on a particular station. Just passes over it, and you catch that little.
You catch that fragment,
tiny snippet, yes, and therefore suddenly that becomes words.
Suddenly it became, or especially if you're expecting to hear something, you're primed to hear something.
Yeah,
so when it said a word that could be sounding a bit like dad, then that's what you'll hear.
I think she said dead.
Dead. Well, there you go.
There we go. And then because she says it, that's what you end up hearing a bit. But I mean, there's nothing there. That's noise.
Of course it is. Now, the next one I'll play is from a group called the Paranormal Yes Crew. Right now, the Paranormal Yes Crew visited Kendall, which was where the boy disappeared from, wandered around the bushland with a toy Spider-Man to entice the ghost. Let's have a look.
What we're asking now, William, is show us your bones, darling. Now we've got his Spider-Man, so do you want to put it on the ground? Can you press the button just to show it makes noise? Please, on the side there's a little, on the side there's a little black button. I think the other, yep, see Willie? That's your toy, honey. Do you like Spider-Man? You can play with it, you can move it, you can pick it up, you can play with it, you can make it go. You know that noise it makes? You like that, don't you?
Good grief.
Because the little boy was wearing a Spider-Man outfit. He was 3 years old. I don't know. I presume he had a toy, Spider-Man toy.
I don't know. Well, but he's famously in the photographs he's wearing a Spider-Man. But now in that case, I think they really believe it because they've gone out there, they've filmed the whole thing. They're saying this is what's happening. You wouldn't do that as a laugh, or if they really sincerely think they've been in contact.
I think they probably do, and the fact that they sound like they're the fact that when they put the toy down and say move, it doesn't move, right? It might fall over eventually, but it doesn't move. It's not picked up. The line about show us your bones, that's grotesque.
It is. But that gives me the impression that they're sincere, because when you're sincere, you'll say stupid things like that. Yeah, because you think it's real, right? You think you're actually doing something. Who else we've got? We've got psychic detective and intuitive reader from America, Pam Coronado. We have psychic medium Robert Carletti, Lizbeth Tarot, and we'll get to that in a minute, I think, Aurora Beth Tarot, and psychic medium Margaret Divko. Now,
are the Tarot sisters or something?
Maybe so. Let's have a look at the tarot reading for William Tyrrell.
They tied him up. So, tell me who took William Tyrrell. So what cards have we got here? Oh my God! Look what cards just came out. The Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords. Well, he's taking something and he's running, and there's something real foxy about him, and he's not a person that you would trust. Definitely not. And the Wheel of Fortune just tells me that he thought he was in the right place at the right time, and it just happened very quickly.
Who is she talking about there? Is she reading?
She's reading for William, and she's talking about the person who took him. So she's shuffling the cards. She says, "Who took William?" Oh, here's a card with a person on it
and a dog.
Well, let's try
a terrier or something.
So I've got a tarot deck here, and we're going to try the same thing.
Not as big as hers, though. I noticed. Hers quite an enormous.
It's quite good. Yeah, these I've been kicking around my cupboard for years and years and years. They're called the Simply Tarot.
And she seemed to have dropped her cards in the video, right? She's sort of shuffling the cards, and a couple of them drop out.
Well, let me shuffle mine.
And see what drops out.
And I'll say, who took William Tyrrell? I'll ask the universe. And the two cards that come up are, the Nine of Swords and the Five of Swords. Well, this is very meaningful.
Well, you didn't get the Seven of Swords. Which
I didn't, but look, there we go. We're holding them up. So, distraught parent, look at that. It represents the parents of William Tyrrell being distraught in bed, covering their eyes, obviously frustrated. But look at this character from the Five of Swords. I wouldn't trust him. He's got two other people with him. So it looks like these tarot cards are saying that three people could have been involved.
Could be this paranormal group.
It could be the paranormal group. It's just my way of saying it doesn't matter what card.
No, any card.
It's irrelevant. Let's try two more. We've got the Eight of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. Now, he's a sneaky character, just like the other guy.
The Seven of Swords was the one that she used. This is one, the Eight of Pentacles has someone with a hammer, which is obviously indicative of how they killed William Tyrrell.
So it just goes to show.
We don't know whether he died, by the way.
We don't know. But it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what. I've seen this in tarot cards before. It doesn't matter. No. They just make up a story with the pictures. The other. Okay, so all these people who say have mystical insights to William Tyrrell, nothing. The case is nothing.
Including the police, through their ordinary research, haven't been able to find anything.
So, and the other case mentioned before, the murdered mother and daughter from Victoria, the Tapp family. And so I go on to say here, psychics, mediums, seers, diviners, tarot card readers and their ilk have been wasting police time and resources for decades. As far back as 1935, a report in the Australian Women's Weekly, quotes a detective sergeant saying the writers, psychics, are not encouraged and in no single instance known to me has anything of value come of them. In the Sydney Morning Herald, there's a report from 1986 about a missing 8-year-old boy, John Pertell. The chief superintendent, Bob Bradbury, saying at the time, we give no credibility at all to those people, the psychics, and we don't use them in our investigations. In 1991, speaking in the Cairns Post, Sergeant Mick Morrison is quoted as saying, they, the psychics, give us some faint hope and build everyone up, and then they let the family down with a great big thud. I've had a gut full of it. There should be a law against it.
Well, there should be a law against it.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
There used to be a law against it, actually. Way back when there was these sort of witchcraft laws. Yeah. Actually, that often sat on the books for ages, and no one bothered. They occasionally use it to sort of clear out a few of the sidewalk sears and that sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it happened a case in actually Northern Territory not that long ago. That this was, and they've since dropped these laws. They're sort of a bit silly. Yeah. But I mean, that's interesting. The first quote from 1936.
Yeah, it's. I just put it up on screen for those watching on YouTube at the moment. Yeah, it's.
So that's 90 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, and obviously these people were offering their services then.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's nothing new.
Yeah.
In particular, I dare say there was psychic people helping out Sherlock Holmes or something. Anything in the old days. I'm sure. With the Jack the Ripper murders, there would have been some psychics out there.
That's a good...
Interesting to find out.
That'd be a good story,
yeah. We might look it up. But the thing is, it's... And the 40 years old, and then there's 30 years old, and things these... They've been around a long time. The police have been saying the same thing.
Yep. So I round off by saying Allison Dubois is ill-advised to exploit these cases as publicity for her tour, and in doing so, stir up false hope and possibly, owing to public pressure, once again waste police time and resources on yet another paranormal wild goose chase. The victims and their families deserve dignity and respect, not exploitation. They should not be turned into yet another psychic sideshow to promote a travelling medium and sell tickets to a performance. If the aim is justice, resources should be directed to where they actually make a difference. That is towards the disciplined, scientific and forensic work of the police that does solve cold cases year after year.
I mean, the fact of visiting or even local psychics performing their tricks, if you like, or their skills in a public venue, etc., charging money for people to attend, it says a lot, as you say. They shouldn't be using it without raising hope for people, but they're making money out of it.
Business is business.
Which is the concept of empathy is a bit sort of missing there. There was a case a few years ago when 3 psychics in Perth gathered together to do a presentation at a big hall, and it was the Cottesloe murders? I forget exactly the name of it. Terrible.
Okay.
At least 3 girls who disappeared young girls who disappeared.
Oh, right, yes.
After nights out, etc.
Yes.
And what happened to them? And they were very happy to go up there in front of a big audience, and the audience is there for these things.
Yeah.
The audience, obviously, if you're going along, unless you're sort of are fooling your money, but I mean they're going along sort of with empathy and with a anticipation that these things are real, and so therefore they can get a good turnout. If Allison Dubois is travelling around various states of Australia,
she'll get a good turnout.
She'll get a good turnout. It must be worthwhile financially to do that, and she'll get good TV coverage as well.
She will get great TV coverage. That's one thing that skeptics can predict. We can predict the future.
I think we can.
She'll be on the Channel 9 morning chat show, the Channel 7 morning chat show. She'll be on various radio programs. There could be the odd skeptical point made against her, but she's ready.
Yeah.
She's ready with those lines about skeptics.
By and
large, the media,
you could probably play
they don't care.
Dubois Lotto or something. You can pick out when she's going to say these words, chip on the shoulder and this sort of stuff.
We could send the media a bingo card.
Yeah, bingo card, that's the one. Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's there's a wall behind me which I often bash my head against. Actually, right? It's dangerous, but I mean, it's very, very frustrating to see these things just said over and over again, and yet especially morning TV programs.
Yeah,
they have a magazine format,
Yeah.
if you like, and they need content to fill.
Well, again, business. It's commercial TV. Business is business.
Or even at times the ABC, which
even
is
at times
not
the
with
ABC.
the government-owned, if you like, sort of TV station should be a bit more sober about what they're talking
Well,
about.
the ABC won the Ben Spoon Award 3 times.
You know, so
over
it
the
makes
years.
you wonder, doesn't it?
Speaking of which, folks, if you've got a candidate for the Australian Skeptics Ben Spoon Award, go to skeptics.com.au. We need to hear from you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, actually. Got one so far.
We got one. We need some more.
We need some more to choose from. We need good options.
We can't nominate Allison Dubois because she's American.
She's a visiting. We actually did sort of give the award once to a visiting person, the psychic dentist.
It's a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I think we've sort of since then. So it has to be
Australian.
An Australian either here or overseas. That's
It's really Australian-centric. We want to keep that. Otherwise, we'd be awarding it to people in Canada or something like that.
Oh, no,
not Canada.
Not that low.
Canada.
Don't go that far. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who should be nominated for Ben Spoon, not always psychics. But the interesting thing is the psychics who often get a good recording of what they're saying, actually, because they can't help themselves. They're promoting themselves, so they go on TV, radio, etc. Yeah. And you with your obsessive recording of everything that happens.
Well, let me hold this up. This is my skeptical archive, that little hard drive there. That's got, at last count, 14,000 files on it or something like that. I've got lots of Allison Dubois' television appearances on morning show 20 years ago.
God, yeah.
And they're interesting to study now to see,
Yeah, I mean, her patter seems to be much the same. Her voice style, you think it's the same sort of gentle, if you like, sort of reasonable sort of voice.
Yeah.
Especially in the face of those awful skeptics with chips on their shoulders.
But again, it gets back to that ABC radio program and the completely credulous presenter.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. Just such...
Starting off by sort of saying you are a psychic.
You are a psychic and you're great. And
you've had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
That's what we're fighting against, really. And or at least trying to alert people to the fact that don't just believe them because they say that. It'll be interesting to see. This tour by Dubois, like the tour by Croisset way back when, with the Beaumont kids, she'll come in and make predictions and then leave.
Yeah.
I dare say she's not going to hang on, unless Croisset hung around to try and see what was sort of happening.
Actually, no, oddly, no, he only stayed in town for two or 3 days.
Was it really?
Really quick.
Take that back.
Quick.
Yeah, okay.
And then he zoomed off. Yeah.
Zoomed off and then leaves the people here to try and sort of...
For decades. And there were decades later, there were still people trying to act on his advice.
Yeah.
It's a very sad story.
Very sad story.
Tim Mendham.
Absolutely.
That was a good book of Tim.
That was good.
I look forward to more books of Tim or book of Tim's.
That was a good chapter in the book of Tim, actually.
Was it good? Yes.
It was a page, anyway.
We'll go back to drinking our skeptical coffee.
Cheers.
All right, save.
time once again to raid the archives, no matter where they are. But today, we're going to be looking at a term which is bandied about the New Age movement for a long time now. I've seen this come and go. I've seen this at Mind Body Spirit Festival, of course. Scalar energy or scalar healing. Now, what does scalar mean, and why is it being so widely misused? Well, I had to refresh my own memory. I guess there's only so much you can keep in your mind at any one time. Let's go to Wiki. Scalar may refer to scalar mathematics, an element of a field which is used to define a vector space, usually the field of real numbers. Scalar physics, a physical quantity that can be described by a single element of a number field such as a real number. We also have scalar field. Scalar field, assignment of numbers to points in a space. In mathematics and physics, a scalar field is a function associating a single number to each point in a region of space, possibly physical space. When we get to scalar mathematics, a scalar is an element of a field which is used to determine a vector space. Now, what we're talking about here is a way to measure something. And if we simply turn to Google, the dictionary here, scalar, we can learn how to pronounce it.
Scalar.
Scalar. Adjective, of the quantity, having only one magnitude, not direction. Scalar, a physical quantity that is completely described by its magnitude. Examples of scalar are volume, density, speed, energy, mass, temperature, and time. Other quantities such as force and velocity have both magnitude and direction and are called vectors. So we're talking about a type of occurrence which can be categorized here. And I think temperature is a good example. It can be described by its magnitude, but it doesn't have a direction as such. So when it boils down to it, unless I'm misinterpreting all this, scalar is a way of measuring something. Now, I think why the word has been misused in the New Age health industry is because of one Nikola Tesla. And a quick search says here, scalar waves or Tesla waves are a controversial non-Hertzian longitudinal energy form distinct from standard transverse electromagnetic waves that Tesla hypothesized could transmit power wirelessly without loss. These, often called Tesla waves or longitudinal scalar waves, are speculative, not well established in mainstream physics. But somebody, and I don't know who, I wonder why and who, grabbed onto this many years ago and simply applied the word scalar. They've whacked the word energy onto it, so you get scalar energy or scalar healing, and have used it ever since to flog no end of quackery. Which brings us to that limitless library of all knowledge. In Doctor Who, they had a whole planet devoted to a library, which was the great reservoir of interest. In Star Trek, we had a similar idea called Memory Alpha. Well, of course, here on Earth in 2026, we have TikTok. And what wisdom awaits? Well, let's search for scalar energy. And here up first is a posting made in 2024 by Atlantis Scalar.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Elisa Medhus from Atlantis Scalar and from Channeling Eric with AK. So what is scalar energy? You know, this is what I use, these energy waves, to send instructions to your energetic body and create a new wonderful reality for you. Here's how it works. First of all, scalar energy is not part of the electromagnetic spectrum like radio waves, microwaves, etc. It's completely different. It is helical and carries information over infinite distances without degradation. That's why we can do it remotely in the Philippines and Finland, etc. And it's kind of cool that another thing that's helical is our DNA, our genetic material, because that also carries information. So, Kind of like a sacred geometry thing. Anyway.
Well, I think that's enough from Atlanta Scalar. And as she was speaking, behind her on the wall seems to be a diploma of some description. Now let's check in on the TikTok channel here of Synergy Wellness.
So what is scalar? So scalar is what makes up the universe, right? They used to think that basically in between all the tiny, tiny little particles of the universe, you know, these neutrons and protons and all these things, that there was empty space. Well, it's not. It's actually scalar particles. Scalar is not just a particle, but it's also a wave. And actually, if you break the tiniest, tiniest little particles in this universe down, they're waves. But scalar is unique because basically how you get a scalar wave is basically it happens when a positive wave meets a negative wave, and then that creates a flat wave. And that flat wave is kind of what triggers this reset. That can be incredibly healing.
So now you know. I wonder if this calls for a course in high school science about what the word energy means. Now, for a different angle, let's check out the channel of The Soul Doctor.
So the CIA has multiple documents that they've released on scalar energy waves. Some of these talk about how scalar energy works, Nikola Tesla's research, as well as the impact scalar can have on the body, and I'm going to break it down as quickly as possible. The first document really goes over what is a scalar wave. And you can see in this section here, it talks about how scalar waves are not an electromagnetic wave. So unlike most energy wave patterns, it doesn't follow this wave-like system that can be measured.
All right. It's getting a little bit difficult to keep watching this endless stream of drivel. We'll end with Any Ray, the channel Any Ray. And it says here, let us tell you what an energy enhancement system, EES, is and how it works. Okay, let's have it.
I'm going to explain to you what an EE system is and does in less than 60 seconds.
And I'll pause it here to say briefly, she's in a room with 4 computer monitors, one stacked on top of the other, and they're just showing random lines of pretty lights, pretty patterns streaming across the monitors.
An EE system is a quantum technology that's creating a hyper-healthy, coherent field of energy called a scalar wave. Scalar wave is just energy moving faster than the speed of light. Scalar waves help your body come back into balance. Studies have shown that scalar waves can repair the breaks in DNA and help lengthen telomeres, which is your anti-aging. People have also reported reduced levels of chronic inflammation and pain in their bodies, as well as more balanced emotional states.
Okay, that's enough of that. In fact, as I glance here now, it appears that they have many more. Let's have a look. More monitors in the room. Now, I must say this reminds me of an investigation I'm doing at the moment where a quack device is being used, and it occurred to me that the people who create these devices prey on vulnerable people like naturopaths and people who think they have mystical healing powers and sell them expensive but useless technology. Now, in years past, many years ago, at the Mind Body Wallet Festival, Mind Body Spirit, which is coming up again in a few months, I think, I came across, probably the first time I came across this whole idea of scalar energy, was a pendant was being sold, the SE pendant, and I took various photographs, and I have some literature from the time. And this was the pendant. It's about the size of a poker chip. The claim was from one of the women at the stand was that if you put this under a jug of water, it will give the water the properties of a sunblock, and then you can use that on yourself, or in her case, her grandchildren. I was not impressed. What's this literature I have at the time? This must be more than 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. SE pendant for more energy, boosted vitality, and better health. And ironically, it was discovered this pendant was radioactive. And a press release from the Australian Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety Agency, Scalar Energy Products and Health, that says using scalar energy products can increase your exposure to damaging radiation. And that press release doesn't have a date which it should. Nevertheless, that was roughly about the same time, so well over a decade ago. Now, there's more of this around than I suspected. There's a website here called earthingoz.com.au. And earthing or grounding, that's the idea that if you run around with your bare feet on the ground, it does you no end of good. And they have a page here in their blog, Scalar Energy, by Heidi Ireland on the 16th of August 2020. What is scalar energy? Scalar energy is considered by the relatively few people who know it exists as potentially the greatest discovery in the history of science, mostly referred to by the term scalar fields or scalar energy. Other terms used to describe this property of the universe are information fields, longitudinal waves, zero-point energy, tachyon, orgon, radiant energy, gravitic waves, quintessence, standing waves, and Tesla fields. The subject of scalar ties intimately into quantum mechanics and quantum field theory. So now you know. But let's round off with something from the newspaper archives, and in this case it's from the Boca Raton News, dated the 1st of September 2005, and this appears to be from Florida. An article here by Frank Carbone, staff writer. Moving into the future of energetic healing. Let me see now, this was 21 years ago, so we're in the future now. Let's see what he thought might be happening. Question: what is scalar energy? Answer: the literature states that the scalar is created when two common electromagnetic waves come together to form two different converging vectors or angles. Where the energy vectors meet, the equal frequencies cancel each other, leaving a standing or stationary energy. The space the scalar occupies is not a vacuum, but alive with checked and balanced energies. The literature describes that it can be created by electromagnetic generators, or naturally, when similar frequency waves in the environment meet from two different vectors. Therefore, small random scalar energies are always present in the environment. Who knew? I better get the washing in. Dr. Valerie Hunt discovered when the mind is consciously focused, intent can direct electromagnetic frequencies to enter the body at opposite ends of a straight angle or line. Sounds painful. For example, front to back, up to down, right to left, placing scalar energy in the trunk, head, and legs. I believe that the biscalar is the sustained energy for healing that all successful healers create and direct. In the same way, each of us can create the powerful resting biscalar energy, and by thought, we can direct it to bodily areas and give it instruction to eliminate pain, heal traumatized tissue, destroy disease, and eliminate tumor growths. What the? Certainly this is not a new thought to the healing arts. However, the mechanism by which the mind creates and directs this energy is new and scientifically verifiable. I don't think I saw that press release in the past 26 years. During the Cold War, Tom Bearden and Elton Bird, visionary and somewhat rebel physics engineers, believed that the scalar energies resided in the nucleus of the atom. How profound! If this is true, the biscalar energy is deeper than cells, molecules, genes, and the DNA. It is a source of energy that directly influences all tissue. Bearden further states that the scalar energy is a repository for information. Probably when human thought and intent make major changes in bodily tissue, it occurs by creating and informing the scalar energy at the most microscopic level, the nucleus of the atom. In taking notes at home, I hope. For more information on this subject, you can look on the web at bioenergyfields.org, or I can be reached at 561-789-0567. And in caps it says, "Keep on moving." And this was a staff writer for the newspaper. And they published it. And on the same page, right next to that, is Kids' Health. Head lice must be treated carefully to avoid damage. Well, maybe they could use scalar energy. We don't want to damage those head lice. Now, it's not uncommon for the New Age to misuse scientific words. The most commonly misused word is energy, followed by, I would probably have to say, frequencies, or frequency, and then vibrations. But certainly scalar is up there right alongside quantum. Maybe I should invent something. A quantum frequency scalar energy vibrational device. Yeah, I better work on that. Well, how about a vibrational energy scalar frequency quantum device, or a VESFQ? Yes, buy the VESFQ today. Only $39.95, plus postage of $600. Well, you can't be too careful. Scalar energy. And you will see that around the traps, as I've discovered. There are businesses here in Sydney, businesses in Melbourne, and probably around the world, offering flashing lights and claiming it's all scalar energy or quantum technology. But you too can find out about what scalar really means, or what it really doesn't mean, when you visit Trove at trove.nla.gov.au, or Google newspapers, or just do a search around, because when you do that, you never know what vibrational, scalar, frequency, quantum, blah, blah, blah energies you might find. Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. And thank you to all those people who continue to support the Skeptic Zone at skepticzone.tv, via PayPal or Patreon. If you enjoy the show, if you get something out of it, if it's part of your weekly entertainment or education, please consider subscribing. You can chip in for as little as dollars a week, $5 or $10 a week, or maybe even a bit more if you enjoy the show that much. It means the show can keep going, and thank you to those people who do that. Now, don't forget, of course, coming up on the 22nd to the 25th of July here in Sydney, Not-A-Con. The Skeptic's Guide to the Universal Rogues will be here, plus special guests like George Rabb. And this is in combination with the Australian Skeptics National Convention, where we will be presenting things like the Bent Spoon Award. Not-A-Con is not quite a conference. It's a completely different idea. We're very excited to be hosting all of that. More details, head for skepticzone.tv and click the Not-A-Con link. Not-A-Con link, or just go to notaconcon.com. A big shout out and a big thank you to the skeptical fairy godmother angel from the internet. Not only does she dispense wisdom via logical fallacies at tinyurl.com/logicalzone, she also checks the Skeptic Zone every week to make sure the page is shipshape. Thank you, Fairy. Having said all that, for this week, this is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Please visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for episodes and show notes with links going back to 2008. You can follow the Skeptic Zone on Facebook, X, TikTok and YouTube by clicking the links at our homepage, together with links to support the show financially via Patreon or PayPal. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of the Skeptic Zone podcast or any other skeptical organisation.
Annie McCubbin, you look stumped.
I'm not stumped. I'm very, very interested. I've just had a very interesting discussion on whether or not there is free will, and I have now been informed there is no free will. So it's not my fault I'm drinking wine.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Now we're here to play the dice game. We've just had a wonderful night here at Skeptics in the Pub. Our speaker was Dr. Steve. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Neuroscience is your game.
Absolutely. The endless space of neuroscience. I do brain mapping. I map the brain. I don't know what else to really say off the spot now. But the maps we use from mapping the brain get used from a surgical perspective all the way down to a research perspective, and we do it on humans all the way down to mice.
Let's bring the topic down a little bit now. We're going to play a dice game. I'm here with Lara Benham as well. Hello, Lara.
Hello.
Now, this is the part of the show at the end of the pod. And Annie McCubbin, which we... Hello.
I've already spoken, but thank you, Lara.
This is where we're going to test our ability to use our neurons to look into the future. We're going to predict the roll of a die here. It's a 10-sided die. So what do you think the number will be?
2.
10.
Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. 5 for me. And it is? Oh, nobody. It was a 4. It was a 4. This time?
2.
3.
1.
8.
The film industry's done this.
6. This is terrible.
Even with 4 persons of odds, we're still failing at the number game.
Below, yeah.
This one?
8.
1.
10.
4.
And then you can use
7.
This is becoming mathematically unlikely at this point.
And the last one, the supplementary number. Here we go. I'm going to say 5.
5.
6.
8.
Surely one of us, statistically.
Yeah, you'd think.
Otherwise this is
1.
If you needed any more proof that anyone could divine numbers.
Wow.
So let's do a 5th one. This is very rare on the show. We never do this. But tonight we're going to do a 5th one. Okay. 2.
1.
5.
4.
Yes! Oh, is that me? No, 1.
It's a 1.
Prevails.
Thank you.
tools now for like fixing up